This reading is from the Amazon book, Disclosure, Humanoid Reptilian Lacerta on Earth Wisdom and Star People Encounters by American Indians by author Betsy Lewis. In the interview between Olkay and Lacerta, only part of what was said was included, as the humanoid reptilian, referring to herself as Lacerta, asked that he withhold certain important information from the public. The Swedish man, Olkay, possesses the full transcription, 46 pages, and the drawings he made, representing the reptilian Lacerta and her equipment, as well as the entire recording. Still, he will not share them without Lacerta's permission. Olkay claimed that he was a skeptic regarding UFOs and extraterrestrials, but the interview conducted in Sweden over 3 hours between 1999 and April 17, 2000, changed his mind. He said, "I certify that the following text is the absolute truth and not a work of fiction. It is part of the transcript of an interview I conducted in December of 1999 with a non-human reptilian female who had already been in contact for several months with one of my friends, referred to below by the initial ZF. People are free to form their own opinion about the information given by Lacerta. There were 40 questions and exchanges that Lacerta gave me. I sent this summary to 4 of my friends in Finland, Norway, Germany, and France so they could translate it into their respective languages and distribute it. If you receive this text, please send it to as many people as possible. I also certify having observed during these 3 hours of the interview the telepathic and paranormal abilities of the reptilian, making a pencil dance on the table without touching it, holding an apple in the air 40 centimeters above her hand. And I am absolutely certain there was no trick. It may be difficult for some people who have not experienced it to understand, but I was truly in contact with her mind, and I am certain that everything she said in this interview is the truth." Olkay wrote this on January 8, 2000. Olkay began the interview by asking, "First, who are you and what are you? Are you an extraterrestrial race or a being originating from this planet?" Lacerta: "As you can see with your own eyes, I am not a human being like you, and I am not even really a mammal, despite the fact that my body's appearance shows traits that belong to mammals, which are the result of evolution. I am a female reptilian being. I belong to a very ancient reptilian race, native to Earth. We have lived on this planet for millions of years. We are mentioned in your religious writings, such as the Christian Bible, for example, and many ancient tribes knew of our existence and worshipped us as gods, for example, the Egyptians and the Incas. Your Christian religion misunderstood our role in creation and describes our race as an evil serpent. This is false. It was an extraterrestrial race that designed your species through genetic engineering, and we were merely more or less passive visitors in this process of accelerated evolution. You must understand, as some of your scientists have guessed, that your species evolved at a pace that would normally be completely impossible over the span of 2 to 3 million years. Normal evolution is a much slower process, but you haven't grasped that. The creation of your race was done artificially, through genetic engineering, not by us, but by an extraterrestrial race. You asked me if I am extraterrestrial. I answer no. We are Earthborn. We have had and still have colonies in the solar system, but our origin is this planet. It is our planet and not yours. It never has been yours. We do not have first names like you do, but a unique name made up of several parts and characterized by how it is said. It is not given to children, who have a special child name. It is conferred during adolescence in a special ceremony at the time of what you would call enlightenment or religious/scientific awakening. I would appreciate it if you did not attempt to pronounce my real name with your human tongue. Please call me Lacerta. This is the name I usually use when I am among humans and speak with them." In French, the name Lacerta means lizard. Olkay, how old are you? Lacerta: "We do not measure time as you do, in astronomical years corresponding to the Earth's revolutions around the sun, because we generally live beneath the planet's surface. Our measure of time is based on the periodic return of certain cycles of the Earth's magnetic field. According to this measure, and expressed in your numbers, I reached adulthood and awareness 16,337 cycles ago. This is a very important date for us. According to your human time, I would be approximately 28 years old. Lacerta would have been born in 1971, according to our timeline, and would be 55 Earth years old now. Okay, what is your task? Do you have a job like we do? Lacerta, using your words, I would say that I am a student curious about the social behavior of your species. That is why I am here, speaking to you, and why I revealed my true nature to EF, Olkay's friend, and now to you. It is also why I am sharing this secret information, and will try to answer, honestly, all the questions you have written on those sheets of paper there. I want to see how you react, and how others of your species react. There are so many fools and liars among your kind on this planet who claim to hold the truth about UFOs and extraterrestrials, etc. Some of you believe those lies. I am interested in observing how your species will respond if the truth, which I will now share, is made public. I am certain that each of you will refuse to believe my words. I hope I am not wrong, because you need to understand if you want to survive in the years to come. Okay, I have read your full testimony, which you gave to EF, about all this, but can you briefly answer me now? Are UFOs real flying objects piloted by extraterrestrials, or do they belong to your species? Lacerta, some UFOs, as you call them, that have been observed belong to us, but not all of them. Most of the mysterious flying objects are not technological devices, but simply a misinterpretation of natural phenomena that your scientists have not understood, such as spontaneous plasma flares in the upper atmosphere. However, some UFOs are real devices belonging either to your own species, mostly your military, to other extraterrestrial races, or to us. But only a minority of the observed UFOs belong to us, because we are very cautious of our movements in the atmosphere, and we use certain means to conceal our ships. If you read a report describing the sighting of a cigar-shaped cylindrical object, metallic gray in color, ranging from 20 to 260 meters in length, there are different types, and producing a sound resembling a deep hum. If there are 5 red lights on the metallic surface of this cigar, one on top, another in the middle, and 2 at each end, then there is a good chance that it is one of our ships. However, this would mean that the ship is partially malfunctioning, or that one of us has not taken enough precautions. Was Lacerta describing what Navy pilots have termed tic-tac UFOs? We also have a small fleet of flying discs, but UFOs of this type generally belong to an extraterrestrial race. The triangular-shaped UFOs usually belong to your military, but they have built them using extraterrestrial technology. If you wanted to see one of our ships, you would need to observe the skies over the Arctic, the Antarctic, and Inner Asia, especially above the mountain regions in that area. Okay, do you have a special symbol or something of that kind to identify your race? Lacerta, we have 2 major symbols to represent our race. One, the oldest, is a blue serpent with 4 white wings on a black background. These colors have religious significance for us. This symbol was used by some parts of my society, but now it has become extremely rare. You humans have copied it too often in your ancient writings. The other symbol represents a mystical being that you would call a dragon, depicted in the form of a circle containing 7 white stars. This symbol is more common nowadays. If you see either of these symbols on a cylindrical device like the one I described, or on an underground facility, it means that this device or location definitely belongs to us. And I advise you to move away from it as quickly as possible. Okay. Do the 7 stars you mention in your symbol represent the Pleiades? Lacerta, the Pleiades? No. They are the planets and moons. It is the symbol of our 7 ancient colonies in the solar system. The stars appear on a blue field, and the dragon in a circle symbolizes the shape of the Earth. The 7 white stars represent the Moon, Mars, Venus, and the 4 moons of Jupiter and Saturn that we once colonized. 2 of these colonies are now abandoned. We no longer use them. So, it would be more accurate to use 5 stars. Oh, you did not allow me to take photos, which would have been useful to provide proof of your real existence and the truth of this story. Can you describe yourself in detail? Lacerta, I understand that photos would be helpful for this purpose. But on the other hand, you humans are inveterate skeptics, which works very well for us as well as for the real extraterrestrials who operate secretly on your planet. So, even if you had those photos, Many beings of your kind would say they were fake, that I am a human woman in disguise, or something like that, which would be an offense to me. You must understand that I cannot give you permission to take photos of me or my equipment, for several reasons I will not discuss further with you. One of these reasons is that the secret of our existence must be preserved. Another is more religious. Nevertheless, I will allow you to make sketches of my appearance and my equipment, which I will show you later. The sketches were never included in the interview. I will also try to describe myself, but I doubt that other beings of your species will be able to imagine my real appearance from just a few words. Indeed, the automatic denial of the existence of reptilian species and, in general, any intelligent species other than your own, is part of your mind's programming. Nevertheless, I will try. Imagine the body of a normal human woman, and you can fairly accurately picture my body. Like you, I have a head, 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, and 2 feet, and the proportions of my body are identical to yours. Since I am female, I have 2 breasts. Despite our reptilian origin, we began nursing our young during our revolutionary process about 30 million years ago, because it is the best way to keep the young alive. Evolution had already achieved this for your species during the age of the dinosaurs, and did so a little later for us. This does not mean we are true mammals, but our breasts are as large as those of human women, and are the same size for all females of my species. The reproductive organs are the same as those of humans in both sexes, but slightly smaller. They are visible and serve the same function as yours, another gift of evolution. My skin is primarily beige-green in color, more of a pale green, and we have patterns made up of irregular brown spots, each spot measuring 1 to 2 centimeters, on the body and face. The patterns vary based on gender, but females have more, especially on the lower body and face. In my case, you can observe 2 lines of spots above the eyebrows, crossing the forehead, on the cheeks, and at the chin. Okay, you mentioned people close to your name. Does that mean your family? Lacerta, this is a complex story that may seem incredible to you, but is the truth. I will try to summarize. 65 million years ago, many of our advanced ancestors from the dinosaur race perished in a great global cataclysm. The cause of this destruction was not natural, not an asteroid impact as your scientists believe, but rather a war between 2 warring extraterrestrial groups. This war took place in orbit and the upper atmosphere of your planet. According to our limited knowledge of those early days, this was the first extraterrestrial war on planet Earth, but it was not the last. And a future war is to be feared soon, as a Cold War has been ongoing on your planet for the past 73 years. The belligerents in this war 65 million years ago were 2 advanced extraterrestrial races, whose names are unpronounceable in your language. I could say them, but their original pronunciation would hurt your ears. The first race was humanoid, like your own, but old and originating from your universe, from a solar system in the constellation you call Procyon. The second race, about which we know little, was a reptilian species that had no connection to ours because we evolved from local saurian, lizard-like reptiles, without external influence, except for the successful genetic manipulation we performed on our own genes. The advanced reptilian race did not originate from this universe, but I will explain this later. Your scientists do not understand the true nature of the universe. Your logical minds cannot perceive the simplest concepts and rely on flawed mathematics and arithmetic. This is part of your race's genetic programming, which I will discuss later. You remain as far from understanding the universe as you were 500 years ago. To use a term you might understand, I would say that the other species did not come from this universe, but from another bubble in the foam of the omniverse. You could call it another dimension, but that term does not adequately describe it. Moreover, your use of the term dimension reflects a misunderstanding of what it truly means. You must understand that advanced species can move from one bubble to another using what you call quantum technology. Sometimes they do this using only their minds. My own species possesses advanced mental capabilities compared to yours, but we cannot shift between bubbles/matter strings without technology, whereas other species active on this planet can, which to you and your ancestors seems like magic. The first race, the humanoid one, reached Earth about 150 years before the reptilian race and established colonies on the continents of that time. There was a large colony on the continent you now call Antarctica and another on what you now call Asia. These beings coexisted peacefully with saurian animals without any problems. When the advanced reptilian race arrived in this system, the humanoid colonists from Procyon attempted peaceful communication but failed, and within a few months, a general war was declared. Both species were interested in this young planet, not for its biology or its underdeveloped species, but for one primary reason: minerals, especially copper. Copper is a very important material for advanced species, even today, because, along with other unstable materials, it allows the production of new stable materials through the induction of a high electromagnetic field at the correct angle with a nuclear radiation field, enabling the creation of a passage between two fluctuating fields. The fusion of copper with other elements in such a magnetic and radiation field chamber can produce a special type of force field, highly useful for various technological tasks. The foundation for this is a very complex formula that you are incapable of discovering due to the limitations of your simplistic minds. Both races desired Earth's copper. For this reason, they waged a very long war in space and orbit. Initially, the humanoid species seemed to have the upper hand, but in the final battle, the reptilians decided to use a very powerful experimental weapon, a type of fusion bomb designed to destroy life forms on the planet without harming valuable minerals, including copper. The bomb was fired from space and detonated over what we now call Central America. Since it exploded in the ocean, it caused an unforeseen fusion with hydrogen, making its effects far stronger than the reptilians had anticipated. The result was deadly radiation, fissile oxygen overproduction, fallout of various elements, and a nuclear winter lasting nearly 200 years. Most humanoids were killed, and the reptilians lost interest in the planet after a few years for reasons unknown, even to us, perhaps due to the radiation. Earth was left alone again, and surface animals perished. One of the bomb's effects was the fallout of various elements and materials created by the process, including iridium. Your scientists now interpret the presence of iridium as evidence of the asteroid impact that supposedly killed the dinosaurs. This is false. But how could you know? Most dinosaurs died, not from the explosion itself, but from its aftermath, especially the nuclear winter and fallout. Within 20 years, nearly all dinosaurs and reptilians were extinct. However, some managed to survive for another 200 to 300 years before succumbing to the changed climate. At the end of the nuclear winter, after 200 years, Earth's climate was colder than before. Some species managed to survive despite the cataclysm. Some species managed to survive the cataclysm. Fish, e.g., sharks, birds, small crawling animals, your ancestors, various reptiles and crocodiles, and a type of advanced small dinosaur that had evolved alongside the large saurian animals, like the one you call Tyrannosaurus. The bipedal reptile resembled your reconstruction. It belonged to the same family, but was smaller, about 1.5 meters tall, with humanoid traits, a modified skeleton, a larger brain and skull, hands with opposable thumbs, a different digestive system, forward-facing eyes like yours, and most importantly, a new and improved brain structure. This was our direct ancestor. There are theories that the bomb's radiation caused mutations in this new race's organisms, but this isn't proven. This small humanoid dinosaur evolved over the next 30 million years, transitioning from an animalistic state to a more or less sentient being, as I've mentioned before. Evolution typically takes much longer than you think unless it is artificially induced, as in your case. These beings were intelligent enough to survive for millions of years by adapting their behavior, seeking refuge in shelters rather than remaining exposed to the cold. They learned to use stones and branches as early tools and discovered fire, which allowed them to warm themselves and maintain their body temperature, a crucial factor for their survival. Over the next 20 million years, nature divided this species into 27 subspecies, leading to wars of dominance between them. 24 of these subspecies went extinct during primitive wars and due to evolutionary pressures because their organisms and minds were not advanced enough to survive. The main reason for their extinction was their inability to adapt their blood temperature regulation systems to climate changes. 50 million years after the war and the end of the dinosaurs, only 3 advanced and technologically capable reptilian races remained on this planet, along with other animal species. Through natural and artificial crossbreeding, these 3 races merged into a single reptilian race. Thanks to the invention of genetic manipulation, we became capable of eliminating divisive genes within our genetic structure. According to our history and beliefs, it was at this moment that our definitive race, as you see me today, was completed through genetic engineering. This occurred 10 million years ago. Our evolution essentially stopped at this point, aside from minor changes toward a more humanoid and mammalian appearance, but without any subdivision into subspecies. We are therefore a very ancient race compared to yours, which at the time was still climbing trees like monkeys, while we were developing technologies, colonizing other planets in this system, building great cities on this planet, now lost without a trace, and manipulating our own genes while you were still animalistic. 10 million years ago, small monkeys began to grow larger and descend from the trees, once again due to a climatic shift, particularly on the continent you call Africa. However, their evolution was very slow, which is typical for mammals. If nothing extraordinary had happened to your species, we wouldn't be sitting here talking. I would be in my comfortable modern home, and you would be in a cave, wearing animal skins and trying to discover the secrets of fire, or perhaps you would be in one of our zoos. But events unfolded differently, and now you believe yourselves to be the rulers of creation, thinking it is your right to live in modern houses, while we must hide underground and in remote places. Approximately 1.5 million years ago, another extraterrestrial race arrived on Earth, the first in 60 million years, which is surprising. You would be surprised to know how many extraterrestrial races live on your planet today. To our great surprise, this extraterrestrial race was not interested in minerals or copper, but in you, the underdeveloped humanoid apes. Despite our presence on Earth, these extraterrestrials decided to help the apes evolve more quickly, intending to create a slave race for future wars. We didn't care much about the fate of your species, but we disliked the presence of these Elohim on your planet. They didn't like our presence either in what they saw as their galactic zoo. This led to wars during your species' 6th and 7th creations. You can read about this in the book you call the Bible, though the descriptions are strange. The truth is a very long and difficult story. Shall we continue? First, you claim mastery over a vast scale of time. You state that your primitive ancestors lived among dinosaurs, survived an artificial cataclysm, evolved for 40 million years, and that your evolution has been complete for 10 million years. That seems incredible to me. What do you have to say about this? Lacerta, I understand that this might seem incredible to you because you are a young species, artificially developed through genetic manipulation. Your own horizon spans only a few thousand years, and you think that's normal. But it's not. It's impossible. Your programmed mind is not capable of grasping such vast timescales. Our duration of evolution seems incredibly long to you, but in reality, it is the original norm of nature. Your species also originated during the age of the dinosaurs, survived the bomb, and evolved over thousands of years, dividing into subspecies. This was the evolution of your bodies. But intelligence? Mental capacity? These were the traits of simple animals. Mammals have been evolving for 150 million years, but they only became intelligent in the last 2 or 3 million years. And it is in this very short span that you were created. Naturally, that's not possible for such accelerated evolution. You are more ignorant than I would have thought. It's our evolution that followed the normal course, not yours. Our species has occasionally been observed in its original form by humans on the surface or near surface entrances and tunnels, but fortunately, your media has never taken these accounts from crazy people seriously. This is very convenient for us, which is why we sometimes let ourselves be seen as we really are. Some of us are in direct contact with human scientists and surface politicians. But this is top secret, as you say, and the public knows nothing about it. These meetings often concern the upcoming war with and between extraterrestrial species and our assistance in that war. This is part 1 of disclosure, which Betsy